Once the youngest ever member of the Nomads motorcycle club, Moudi Tajjour's story epitomises the allure and dangers of gang life. From his early years, growing up among some of Sydney's most notorious figures, to his time in prison and eventual transformation into a social media star, Moudi's life has been anything but ordinary. In this video, we explore the complex layers of his journey, examining his deep ties to family, his criminal record, and his evolution into a father determined to change his future. Moudi Tajjour was born in 1984 in Merrylands, New South Wales, but grew up in King's Cross, where he spent his formative years living in housing commission areas. His family emigrated from Lebanon to Australia during a period when many Lebanese immigrants sought new opportunities amid civil unrest in their homeland. With her, Moudi's mother brought her sister's sons, John and Sam Ibrahim, while their mother initially remained in Lebanon. The Ibrahim brothers would later become central figures in Sydney's organised crime. John Ibrahim, known as the King of the Cross, due to his dominance in Sydney's King's Cross nightclub scene, and Sam Ibrahim, a powerful figure in the criminal underworld, would both play significant roles in shaping Moudi's future. Moudi's early childhood was marked by turmoil when his father, a compulsive gambler, was forced to leave the family. Unable to tolerate his destructive habits and the strain he put on the household, Moudi's mother pushed him out when Moudi was still very young. This abandonment left Moudi and his older brother, Slyman, in a vulnerable position, but it also paved the way for Sam and John to step in as father figures. Sam, in particular, took a guiding role, bringing Moudi into the fold of the family's criminal activities and teaching him about street life from an early age. At 10 years old, he already knew how to use a gun, and at 12, he left home to follow his cousin's steps. By the time Moudi was 14, he and his brother had grown increasingly resentful of their father's absence. In Lebanese culture, family unity was paramount, and the idea of a permanent separation between their parents was not culturally acceptable. Determined to protect their mother's dignity, the brothers tracked their father down, who was still gambling and living in disregard for the family, and gave him an ultimatum. Either return to the family and respect their mother, or leave Australia for good. The brothers were prepared to go as far as killing him if he refused. Despite the severity of the threat, they were adamant that their father could no longer dishonour their mother. Their father eventually came back into the family, but his gambling issues persisted. While Moudi initially struggled with resentment, he forgave his father to keep the family together. He began supporting him financially, ensuring he wouldn't steal from their mother. Over time, despite the difficult past, Moudi's relationship with his father evolved into a strong and positive one. Today, their relationship is better than ever, and Moudi acknowledges that his father, like anyone else, made flawed choices but remains a part of their lives. However, the original ultimatum still stands. Moudi Tajjour's initiation into the Nomads motorcycle club came at an age when most teenagers were still grappling with high school exams. His path into gang life was almost inevitable, heavily influenced by his family ties. At just 15, he became the youngest member to ever join the outlaw motorcycle club, setting the tone for what would be a tumultuous relationship with both the gang and the law. Though he was always around the criminal life due to his cousins, becoming a full-patched member of the club didn't happen immediately. It took him 16 months to earn his full colours, as his cousin Sam, the Nomads Parramatta chapter president, repeatedly delayed the process. One of the reasons for this was Moudi's tendency to get into brawls with other members inside the club, which Sam disapproved of, repeatedly taking away his club colours in response. Before fully committing to the Nomads, Moudi made a bold move to try and provoke Sam. He attempted to join another gang, though he never publicly revealed which one. His actions were deliberate, intended to get under his cousin's skin. When Moudi's brother heard about this, he quickly reported it to Sam. The strategy worked. Soon after hearing the news, Sam decided to formally allow Moudi into the Nomads, solidifying his place in the family business. By the age of 19, Moudi had already risen through the ranks, becoming the president of his chapter, a position that would eventually lead to his ascension as the national president of the Nomads. His leadership marked a period of intense activity for the club as the Nomads expanded their reach and influence. Moudi's rise to the top was characterised by his ruthless approach to challenges, his fearlessness, and his deep loyalty to the organisation. As national president, he commanded respect, but also grew increasingly aware of the dangers of leadership in such a volatile environment. His early years in the club were marked by a thirst for power, driven by both ambition and family pride. Just quickly, if you're enjoying this video so far and you want to see more videos about the Australian underworld, please consider subscribing and liking this video. It really helps me out and helps the channel grow. Moudi Tajjour's criminal history is extensive and fraught with controversy. While his official record is littered with accusations and convictions, Moudi has maintained that much of his early involvement with crime was the result of being falsely accused. At 15, Moudi was arrested and charged with 9 kidnappings in the Bondi area. He spent time in juvenile detention before ultimately being found not guilty. Reflecting on this, he has claimed that he was targeted by authorities simply because of his association with known criminals and his rising profile within the Nomads MC. Later, Moudi faced further accusations, this time in connection with 3 drive-by shootings. He was arrested and held on remand for 15.5 months. Once again, he was found not guilty, but the accusations continued to pile up. However, the most serious crime Moudi was involved in occurred in 2006, when he and his brother Slimane, along with their cousin Michael Ibrahim and a man named Fawzi Abu Jabal, were implicated in the killing of Robin Nassour, the brother of fat pizza star George Nassour. The incident stemmed from Michael Ibrahim's belief that a rude finger gesture delivered by the victim to his brother George had been actually meant for him. Moudi and Slimane spent 4 years in jail before being released in March 2010, while Michael Ibrahim was given a maximum term of 9 years and 4 months. Moudi has been vocal about his belief that he was not the primary actor in the killing of Robin Nassour. In a series of interviews, he has laid much of the blame on his former friend, Fawzi Abu Jabal, who died under suspicious circumstances while Moudi was serving his sentence. Fawzi was fatally shot in the back in a park 6 months after the killing, and Moudi has suggested that his death may have been related to the fallout from the Nassour killing. This decision to cooperate with authorities and reduce his sentence created lasting social consequences for Moudi within the prison system. He was labelled a dog, a term that signifies a traitor in criminal circles. This ostracisation made his time in prison even more challenging, as he had to endure the harsh treatment and isolation. Moudi overall spent around 7.5 years in prison, mostly in Sydney, but also in Adelaide and briefly in Thailand, and spent more than 4 years in solitary confinement due to the animosity from other inmates. Despite these challenges, Moudi viewed the Australian prison system as relatively soft. Before entering, he had anticipated a dangerous environment akin to US prisons, but he later compared Australian prisons to the Boy Scouts. His criticism wasn't directed at the inmates themselves, but at how the prison was run, suggesting he found ways to maneuver through the system despite the harsh isolation he faced. This experience, however, deeply impacted his outlook on freedom and survival. While in prison, Moudi co-founded the feared prison gang, Notorious. The gang operated within the violent and fractured dynamics of the prison environment, allowing Moudi to regain influence despite his solitary confinement. Once released, Moudi left Notorious behind, reconnecting with the Nomads motorcycle club, where his brother Slimane was still involved. In 2018, Moudi made the unexpected and dangerous decision to leave the Nomads. The gang life that had once offered him protection, power and respect had become a constant source of paranoia and fear. He started feeling that his fellow gang members were turning against him. During a national committee meeting in Canberra, a new member, a boxer, challenged him physically. Moudi won the fight, but was later told the boxer had been put up to it by others, and that he had been lucky to win. This incident made him realise that people within the gang might be plotting to kill him, potentially blaming it on an enemy gang to avoid revenge from his powerful family. He became paranoid, believing he was being stalked by rival gangs. But after speaking with members of those gangs, he learned that the threat was likely coming from within his own gang. This realization further confirmed his fears and pushed him to exit the gang life. Moudi felt that there was no longer any love or genuine camaraderie in the gang. The brotherhood he once believed in had faded, and he saw staying as a fatal risk. He concluded that he needed to leave for his own survival, understanding that living in such a dangerous environment without trust was unsustainable. Police intervention also played a significant role in his departure. Under strict consorting laws, Moudi was forced to stop associating with his bikie friends. He saw this police action as a favour that helped him distance himself from the gang. His brother Slimane, who remains with the Nomads as president, supported his decision to leave. Slimane told him to burn his colours, promising that no one would come after him once he did. This blessing gave Moudi the final push to step away from the bikie life after 20 years. The most difficult part of leaving the gang for Moudi was the profound sense of loss that accompanied the decision. Leaving the Nomads meant losing not only his identity as a member of the gang, but also all the friendships that had been forged over the years. While his relationship with his brother remains strong, Moudi's relationship with his cousins has become distant. He acknowledges that their lifestyles have diverged, and they no longer share the interaction they once did. He felt isolated the first 6 months after leaving the gang, but he recognised that maintaining contact with old friends could quickly draw him back into the dangerous lifestyle he was trying to escape. Though the transition away from the bikie world was difficult, he was committed to staying out of that life, finding peace in his new path. In the aftermath, Moudi transitioned into an unlikely career as a social media influencer. He quickly gained popularity on platforms like TikTok and Instagram, where he shared stories from his past, offered life advice, and entertained audiences with his candid and often brash personality. His rise to fame began when he responded to a challenge from another user who was talking negatively about him. This interaction sparked interest and engagement from viewers, leading to a surge in followers who began gifting him money through the platform's features. Surprisingly, this pivot to social media brought him financial success, allowing him to make more money than he ever had in the streets. Since he finds it difficult to trust others and doesn't feel he has much in common with normal people, his social life is largely confined to social media, which became both a business venture and a coping mechanism for his loneliness. While he remains guarded in person, online interactions provide him with the human connection he craves without the risks of betrayal. Moudi's personal life has been as turbulent as his time with the Nomads. His high-profile relationships have been fodder for the media, beginning with his short-lived marriage to Sana Mihaja, the sister of controversial developer Salim Mihaja. The couple married in late 2017, but their relationship quickly soured. Within 3 months, Sana accused Moudi of emotional abuse, leading to a highly publicised and acrimonious split. After this failed marriage, Moudi attempted to move on, entering another high-profile relationship with Jessica Foster, an Instagram model and law student. However, their relationship unravelled after their romantic getaway drew media attention, which Foster found overwhelming. The breakup marked a period of reflection for Moudi, who admitted to having been in over a dozen relationships by the age of 35. For the first time, he began to publicly acknowledge the flaws in his approach to love, expressing a desire to focus on finding a partner who could offer stability and emotional connection. It was during this time of personal introspection that Moudi met Ashley Gudgeon, a manager at one of his cafes. Although their romantic relationship didn't last, they welcomed their son Gabriel in 2021. The birth of his son Gabriel has had a profound impact on him, altering not only his priorities, but also his outlook on life. Where once he lived for the thrill of the streets and the loyalty of his gang, fatherhood has brought him a new sense of purpose and responsibility. His main hope for Gabriel's future is that he never follows in his father's footsteps by getting involved in criminal activities or gang life. In various interviews and social media posts, Moudi has said that he would go to great lengths to ensure Gabriel stays away from that lifestyle, even making the extreme statement that he would kill his son if he ever became a gangster. Moudi has made it clear that he wants to raise his son in a positive and nurturing environment, far removed from the violent and criminal world he once inhabited as a Nomads bikie. He deliberately tries to show a softer side in front of his son, avoiding the tough persona he once portrayed. Moudi hopes that by acting as a loving and responsible parent, Gabriel will grow up valuing different things, like family, hard work and integrity, rather than the rough and dangerous lifestyle his father was once a part of. In December 2022, Moudi's past came back to haunt him in a brutal and very public way. He was ambushed and violently attacked by members of the Mongols motorcycle gang in a Bunnings car park in Nerang, Queensland. The attack was captured on video and quickly went viral, showing Moudi being stripped, punched and stomped on by a group of 4 men. The incident marked a dramatic moment in his life, as it reignited the tensions between him and the outlaw bikie community that he had tried to leave behind. Initially, Moudi responded to the attack with anger, posting a series of videos on TikTok in which he vowed revenge against the Mongols and threatened to gather his former Nomads associates to retaliate. However, within hours, he reconsidered, publicly retracting his threats and affirming his commitment to staying out of gang life. In a series of follow-up posts, he apologised for his earlier outbursts and clarified that he had no intention of rejoining the Nomads or engaging in further violence. Queensland police arrested a 31-year-old Mongols associate in connection with the assault, which was later revealed to be retaliation for comments Moudi had made on his podcast. The attack and its viral aftermath underscored the challenges Moudi continues to face as a former gang leader, trying to carve out a new life while still being linked to the dangerous world he once inhabited. Moudi Tajjour's journey from the youngest member of the Nomads MC to a social media influencer is a story of contrasts. From violence to vulnerability, from gang leadership to fatherhood, his life has been shaped by a desire for power and belonging, but in recent years his focus has shifted toward personal redemption and ensuring a better future for his son. Though he remains a polarizing figure, Moudi's efforts to break free from his past and live a more peaceful life speak to the complexities of rehabilitation and personal change. Whether Moudi can fully escape the shadows of his past remains to be seen, but his resolve to live a peaceful life for the sake of his son signals a desire for true, lasting change. As always, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Till next time, take care.